Welcome back to the channel where we talk about all things VTuber, and today we will be talking about Amano Serafi. As you all know, Amano Serafi's company VNU put out a statement slandering and painting Amano Serafi in a really bad light. In response, Amano Serafi was forced to put out a statement. Amano would resurface as Alien Mixture and put out a Google Doc detailing her experiences while she was at VNU. She would also debunk any inaccurate or incorrect statements made by her previous company, VNU. So this is what she had to say. My experiences with VNU. I addressed the initial statement released March 20th, 2024 by VNU Entertainment, only on my stream as I did not want to put further energy into this situation and I wanted to move on and focus on the future. Originally, I did not include specific information and details at the time as I wanted to preserve some semblance of privacy for myself. However, with the release of their most recent statement, released March 25th, 2024, a couple of days ago, I feel the need to address this situation one final time to refute the multiple incorrect and inaccurate statements by my previous agency about me and my graduation/termination. I will be responding to this statement following the order of their statements before including one final paragraph with any remaining thoughts. Again, I will not be naming any names and I still ask that no slander or hate go out to the talents or the company. I just want my full story to be heard. The first claim by VNU Entertainment stating that it has not always been easy for us to work with her, as we had to change and reassign her a new manager 4 times to meet her needs, but we believed it was all part of the process. This is false. I never requested for my managers to be changed. This was done by my agency without my knowledge or consent. My agency never expressed to me during the time we worked together that I was hard to work with. If anything, I tried to accommodate their requests, demands, and the way they managed things. All 3 times, 4 total managers, my managers were changed. It was due to other reasons, which I will detail below. The first manager I had when I started working at VNU Entertainment will be referred to as Man 1. Man 1 worked with me during my debut and for a period of about a month after that. The only language I know and speak is English, and I was hired specifically to bring in a Western audience. Therefore, I required an English-speaking manager. Man 1 did not speak the best English and also did not have the best management skills. There were numerous cases where my questions would go unanswered, which would then require me to follow up and tag him multiple times for him to see and acknowledge it, or he would take my questions to a high-up and I would sometimes get an answer back if I was lucky. There were numerous cases where my questions would go unanswered, which then would require me to follow up and tag him multiple times for him to see and acknowledge it, or he would take my questions to a high-up, and I would sometimes get an answer back if I was lucky. There were also a lot of miscommunication due to this language barrier regarding my needs and wants on certain assets. One example is my model. I had made a whole folder of examples showing the expression toggles I wanted for my model, which was requested by Man 1. None of those expression toggles were delivered. I brought up the fact that these expression toggles were missing, but management disregarded my concerns as I did not want to seem picky or complain. I accepted the circumstances as I thought they knew best. Some time passed after this and I was randomly informed that Man 1 was then moved to a different department and I was assigned a new manager. My second manager will be referred to as Man 2. Man 2 was assigned to be my manager after Man 1. She told me she was not the best at English or had prior management experience, but that she would try her best. I was okay with this because I did not want to cause issues or seem mean, as I can acknowledge that English is not everyone's first language. Man 2 was very nice, but there were miscommunications and times where it was hard to reach her with questions and statements. However, suddenly, she was no longer my manager and I was not given a heads up. I was then assigned my next manager, who also managed 10 talents alone. Oh, that's hilarious. 1 manager for 10 talents. Oh my god. I'm sorry, but this is exactly what people said not to do. How is a manager supposed to handle 10 VTubers at the same time? This is stupid. I'm going to continue with Google Doc. My third manager, as mentioned above, will be referred to as Man 3. Man 3 had no prior experience with managing and was our marketing leader prior being made manager to 10 talents. My experience with Man 3 was negative. Initially, he seemed to really care and tried to implement changes as he knew and acknowledged how bad our management system was. However, as time progressed, I slowly started to feel as if he didn't care. There would be many times where I would ask him for guidance and help, and the only responses I would receive were, "I'm really busy right now," or "I can. I'm working on Gen 3. As this was during the time Gen 3 was in pre-debut. I fully understood the stress of making sure a generation debuted, but I felt tossed aside and made to do and learn on my own. I was very nervous at the fact that we were getting new talents so very fast. When I confronted Mantri about this, I told him that it wasn't a very smart thing to do as VNU Entertainment already had a lot of talents and was pulling a Niji, to which he replied that that was the idea, because the CEO had a plan with all the talents. When I asked him if the plan was a good plan, he only told me, I mean, it's a plan. That's messed up. So not only is Alien Mixture saying, not only is Mantri overworked, he started making excuses that he couldn't help her whenever she reached out for help. At the same time, the company was debuting VTubers one after the other. This is basically Niji Sanji's Accelerate plan. Why is everyone doing this? I thought the VTuber community already established that it is a bad idea to debut VTubers one after the other. You have to leave time in between debuts so the generation has time to breathe, has time to grow. I don't understand them. Why are they doing this? Why is VNU doing this? Anyway, I'm just going to continue. Regarding VNU Entertainment statements about respecting my time off requests, my agency was not completely supportive and pressured me multiple times, specifically during my move into my grandmother's house, that she had willed to me. My personal items and streaming setup was delayed in transit and was not going to arrive for at minimum another week despite being promised next day delivery. I had nothing except for a blow-up mattress and a couple of clothes. All of my work stuff was packed up in a pod that I was not able to reach due to it being in transit. I let Mantri know this, as these issues were not due to my negligence, and updated him at every possible opportunity. Over time, Mantri was not receptive to these issues and demanded that I made content regardless. I told him that wouldn't be possible as I had nothing except for my phone, and the only thing I could do was make a couple of tweets to update my community. He then gave me a deadline to get back to streaming, disregarding the circumstances and everything I had said prior. That stressed me out immensely as I was afraid I would be fired, let go, and I would lose the only thing I had at the time to make ends meet. Once my streaming setup arrived, I returned to streaming immediately and tried to forget about these interactions. After that, I started making TikToks and YouTube shorts featuring my singing. A couple of my TikToks blew up, received a lot of views, and that got Mantri's attention. I was praised and finally received assistance for the first time and one of the only 3 times on how to continue gaining numbers on both YouTube and TikTok. After continuously singing and streaming, my voice began to give out and I had to reduce the number of singing shorts/TikToks. I went to an ENT specialist and after examination was told my vocal cords were inflamed and I was to go on vocal rest immediately to prevent further damage. I told Mantri this and he said he understood. After that acknowledgement from management, I streamed for shorter durations and reduced the number of streams. I only posted TikToks and shorts when I could. Due to this, my social media growth slowed down. During one of my regular meetings at this time, Mantri told me if any of the other talents were in your position of having so many views on TikTok, they wouldn't waste this opportunity and stop working. After hearing this, I cried because I felt as if I wasn't doing enough for my company and my community. The next day, I confronted Mantri and he told me it wasn't that he meant to say what he meant to say and that he was sorry. I forgave him, but I still carry those words with me and they still affect me to this day. After having enough with my agency's mismanagement, which was causing my mental health to decline, I expressed my intentions to graduate for the first time in August 2023. They wanted to compromise with me and asked what they could do to keep me with them. All I asked for them was for change. I told them that I knew it would take some time, but I wanted them to at least try. This never happened. After these meetings, some time passed and Gen 2 was finally given their own manager who will be referred to as Man 4. Man 4 did not have any prior management knowledge, but he did speak English and expressed that he would do his best and was willing to learn for us. I finally was happy and trusted Man 4 with everything. He made me feel worthy of asking for help and tried his best every day. But of course, this did not last long. My birthday was coming up, and after all the talents begged for months for birthday merchandise after being told no, we finally got permission for it. I decided to do a birthday donathon, subathon, for my birthday celebration and Man 4 helped me plan it. I made milestones, infographics, so that with every milestone I reached, a new reward would be unlocked. One of the milestones being an original song. I asked Man 4 twice to look over the milestones to make sure I would have permission from higher-ups to deliver these milestones. He said they were all fine to do. During my birthday stream, I was exhausted after planning and working on this event for countless nights and ended my stream early. I made about $3,000 before my agency would take their portion of the revenue. After my birthday stream, I took a break for about a week due to my mental health declining, as I felt I had let everyone down and my birthday celebration was a failure. During my break, Man4 messaged me and asked if I could have a quick meeting with him. This is when I found out I wouldn't have been allowed to make an original song even if I used my own money to do so. I confronted Man4 and told him we talked about this milestone reward twice, to which his response was, I guess there was some miscommunication. During this same meeting, my agency also confronted me about my streams of games South Park, The Stick of Truth, and Class of 09. Originally, they had applauded me for these VODs as they were exceeding expectations. They liked these VODs so much that they told me to change the thumbnail to further increase the views and analytics. During this meeting, they stated I promoted hate speech and promotion of eating disorders. I denied this, and they wouldn't listen and did not explain further. However, they did not remove said VODs despite accusing me of the above reasons. They placed me on disciplinary action immediately following this and without warning. They then announced this action as a hiatus posted February 8, 2024 on their VNU Entertainment Twitter account, as they did not want to make the disciplinary action situation public. All my access to social media, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, was taken away and I was given a temporary Discord account so that they could keep in contact with me. By this point in time, I reached my breaking point and decided I could no longer work with VNU Entertainment. I then informed them of my decision to graduate as of the first week of February 2024. I did not ask them for compensation as I just wanted to leave. Amano Serafi would continue by saying, I knew I would be terminating my contract early, which was 3 years long as stated by VNU Entertainment, so this resulted in multiple meetings. Before these meetings, I already acknowledged in my mind that I would have to pay back some costs, such as the costs of my model and assets, for example overlay emotes, for leaving early. However, during these meetings, they told me I would have to pay for damages and losses totaling up to 605 million South Korean won, which according to conversion rates, totals up to $450,000. This was the amount of money that they demanded I pay back so that I could graduate/terminate my contract. And if I did not do so, they would press charges against me, which they acknowledged in their statement on March 21st, 2024. I told them that before I promised to pay anything, I would need to see an itemized list with proof and receipts of these costs and payments. This took them over a week to compile and deliver, as the initial meeting was on February 6, 2024. When they gave me the itemized list, I immediately saw that a lot of the costs/damages/losses listed were fictitious, as they tried to charge me with things such as direct labor costs, projects that included other talents, assets, and materials that I was not allowed to use or had access to, and more. When I asked them questions regarding the amounts of money listed and if this was legal, they muted multiple times for 3 to 5 minute intervals during the meeting to talk amongst themselves. I also asked them if I would still be receiving the money earned from my birthday subathon, approximately $3,000, and for the month of December I worked approximately $1,000, to which they said they would be withholding it as a punishment due to my disciplinary action for the time being. I decided to get a lawyer to look into everything as I felt I was being taken advantage of. After sending my lawyer all of the documents, he told me that the itemized list was in fact illegal in the United States and not actionable. He also reviewed my contract and said that the contract did not make sense and could be considered null due to the way it was written. Therefore, he told me to tell them that I would not be paying the $450,000 amount and to lose all contact with VNU Entertainment, as they would not be able to press charges against me since I lived in the US and was therefore protected by US law. Additionally, they could not force me to go to Korea to pay either. I did as my lawyer said and told VNU Entertainment that I would not be paying and that I would be losing all contact with them as of February 27, 2024. I did not say once that further communication should be through legal procedure. At that point, I was done communicating with them and told them, clarified that fact twice. They acknowledged me cutting contact and my refusal to pay, told me that they understood the circumstances and that they would take action as needed. I then waited 2 weeks, since February 27, 2024, for VNU to make an announcement about my departure, which they knew of since the first week of February 2024. But it never happened. I debated saying something myself, but I did not want to escalate the situation at the time or make things worse. I lurked in the VNU Discord server and saw so many of my fans wishing for my return, to come back healthy and happy. I also saw that they did not close my memberships and was still receiving money from that as well. They would also release merchandise while acting like I was still a part of the company, as they were posting videos of me celebrating the MV release and anniversary. This broke me, as no one knew I would not be returning. So I decided to ask my YouTube moderator to put out an announcement of my departure in my section of the Discord server to let my fans know, as VNU neglected to do so. After much consideration, I decided to keep streaming and went back to my old account, Alien Mixture. I wanted to let my fans know what happened and why I was gone for so long, as you all deserve to have an answer that wasn't provided otherwise. I do not wish to continue focusing my energy into this matter anymore. I instead wish to focus my energy into rebuilding my community, as well as to rebuild myself and move on. They can say what they want to say. I know what happened to me and what I went through, and I will not let them gaslight me into thinking otherwise. I do not wish to keep being reminded about this, which is causing me to relive the past over and over again. To my fans and the Vtuber community as a whole, I want to thank you for supporting me, and I hope that all of you will continue to do so in the future. Thank you, from Alien Mixture, previously known as Amano Serafi. That's the end. You know, guys, Amano Serafi went through a lot when she was at her agency, and I don't think she ever meant to put out this entire Google Doc just exposing what happened in the company. I think she genuinely tried to move on. You know, I think all this drama on the internet could have been avoided if Amano Serafi's company VNU could just shut the fuck up. If they had just kept their mouth shut and just never talked about the issue, just let the talent graduate on their own terms, we wouldn't be talking about any of this. We wouldn't even know what happened at the company. But now we do. Now any other VTuber thinking about joining VNU is going to have second thoughts once they know what is actually happening at the company. This entire controversy is just going to dissuade anyone else from joining the company. It's going to reduce the number of applicants trying to get into VNU, but I don't feel sorry for them. Forget all the slanderous termination notices and all the attempts the company made to paint Amano Serafi in a bad light. Because at the end of the day, if the VTuber agency had managed their talents properly, this would not have happened. If you want to support Amano Serafi after all she's been through, she's now Alien Mixture. See here right next to me. It's this girl with a green hair. I think she's an alien because she's called Alien Mixture. Not very original, but hey, the theming is on point. That's the end of the video. This is Rex Nebula signing out.